So on Wednesday night, we have been contemplating on the 7 purifications. And the 7 purifications starts off with the purification of ethics or morality, purification of mind, purification of the view, and a purification of doubts, purification of the path and the wrong path, a purification of the practice, and a purification of knowledge, and understanding that knowledge. So with that 7 purifications, we've been reflecting and contemplating on the first one. That's the purification of morality. And in that purification of morality, last week I have touched the first purification of morality. There are 4 aspects of purification. The number 1 is the Patimokkha Sangvara Sila, which is the ethical practices that one should be following properly in order to be free and restrain and also safeguarding, such as the 5 precepts. So not to kill, not to harm, not to kill or harm any beings, not to take what is not given, not having a sexual misconduct, so not lying and not taking intoxicants. Similarly, any other rules that persist in the community, and that is known as the Patimokkha Sangvara Sila. The second one is Indriya Sangvara Sila, that's control or restraint of our senses. And the third one is the living rightly, or a livelihood. And the last one is the using all the requisites mindfully. So last week I spoke about the first one, that's the Patimokkha Sangvara Sila, and today I will be exploring on the Indriya Sangvara Sila. So Indriya means the head or the principle. Sangvara means the restraint or a mindfulness or awareness. Sila means the morality. So with that, when we say that the principle, and that principle is referring to the 6 senses. So that's why, the full translation for the Indriya Sangvara Sila is basically having a restraint on our senses. So when it's about 27 years ago, when I came across with the Buddhism, I went into the temple on the just the day before the Vesak celebration. So the Vesak celebration means the celebration of a Buddha's birthday, his enlightenment and his passing away. Normally lies in May. So I went in and there was a hymns playing in Nepal, obviously. And this hymns is the part of the propagation in Nepal. Initially, it was banned in Nepal. So initially, whoever comes to study Buddhism, they were exiled or punished. And if you're singing these hymns again, police will imprison you like that. Those days, about 100 years ago. And then, when they were in exiled, so a couple of monks also ordained in India at that time, and they wrote the hymns. And these hymns were imported to Nepal without having any tags on it, and started singing that song. So similarly, later on, as Buddhism slowly gained popularity, the hymns become a part of the propagation. And every event nowadays, there will be singing hymns with a harmonium and tabla, some musical instruments. So 27 years ago, 28 years ago probably, so 1997 sometimes around that time, when I went to the temple, it was a melodiously the singing, these hymns were played on the microphone, and I went in and helped in the monastery preparing for the next day event. There was one particular hymn was played, and that hymn still rings in my bell, in my ears. And that hymns saying that Chalana Pevaya Matazaka Shita Yoma Ajitsvya. So this is now this again, according to the monks' rules, monks cannot sing a song. Okay, and monks should not entertain with the songs somehow. But these monks were so proliferate writing these songs, depicting the Dhamma. And the song speaks about saying that the wind simply blows through the window, and this window blowing my candle off again and again. I don't have any knowledge. How can I close the windows? How can I close these windows? And then further says that this mind is constantly engaged in this 5 factors of the body, and having the attachment to these 5 factors of the body. I cannot close the window so that the wind will not blow my candle off. Like that.
Is that Tera and Terigata or something?
No.
This is different.
Yeah. So Tusara just saying that is it the sayings of the monks and nuns during the time of the Buddha? But this could be, but this song was written by a monk in Nepal. So this basically that as long as we are not restraining or aware of our senses, it's like we are taking the wind in ourselves. And here, the candle is basically the wisdom that sits in our heart. And it's blowing off again and again because of not knowing how to shut the doors, the windows of our eyes, nose and tongue and body and the mind. So the practice of the mindfulness meditation basically is to learn to shut the windows so that the wind will not blow in and put this burning, this a light, which is the wisdom. Light, which is the wisdom, will blow it away. So will not be blown away. That's the same thing in our life. We come across with so many things. And if we do not guard, what happens? We simply make those incidents and stories causing ourselves in trouble. Emotionally feel down and making more stories on top of it. And who suffers? We ourselves suffer. Now, having said that, there is one simile. There are actually a couple of similes. Even 6 senses were even categorized into different animals. But there is one story I think is quite relevant for today. That is, is a tortoise coming out from the river, searching for the food. So it's munching the grasses. And here comes the fox, also searching for the food. And the tortoise doesn't have the strength to jump into the water so that it can save himself. But having seen the fox coming closer, this tortoise thinks that, okay, I better take all my organs into the cell, right? So pulls its legs and heads and all four, two legs and two hands move into the shell. A fox runs around, round and around, round and around, and then waits, thinking that, oh, the very moment if this tortoise brings any part, the head, the tail, the legs or the hands, I will grab and eat it. So waits and waits and waits and waits. And the tortoise also knowing that if I put my legs out, or my tail or my head out of the shell, this fox will kill me for sure. Kill me for sure. So having known that, it just stays in the shell, not putting any parts out. And the fox waited and waited, and knowing that this tortoise is not going to put any parts out, and sniffs and off it goes. Similarly, in our life, if we cannot protect our senses, so tortoise has 6 parts coming, right? 2 legs, 2 hands, head and a tail, so 6. Any part, if it comes, what happens? Fox will eat. But because of a mindful of the danger at front, so it kept it inside, and that's how it's saved. Similar in our life, all our senses are always active, very active. And this senses, whatever we observe, or whatever we see, whatever we come to contact with, that defines how we think, how we speak, how we walk, how we do things. And that actually affects to our life. So, the instruction is that be mindful. Be mindful of all the senses and restrain it. So similarly, there is another gatha comes, the stanza comes in the Dhammapada. Chakkhuna sangvaro sadhu sadhu so tena sangvaro ghanena sangvaro sadhu, so on. Basically means be mindful, restrain your eyes. Be mindful, restrain your ears, nose, tongue, body and the mind. If you manage to restrain it, this is the path to the real freedom. Real freedom. But this is one of the hardest part in our life, to be mindful and restrain. Because the whole world is depend on it. Our whole world is depend on it. And that's why, if we are not mindful of that, who is in trouble? Not the world, ourselves. Not the world, ourselves. Who is emotionally down? Ourselves. Who is feeling down? Who is emotionally unstable? Ourselves. So this practice of a mindfulness meditation is to building up that skill to protect us. It doesn't mean that you close everything off and you stay in a room. Oh, I don't want to see this world at all. I just want to sleep in my bed and this is a safeguard. No. This is not how it works. Yeah? So that Buddha's teaching is not about run away from the problem, but ability to know how to deal with it on that specific time, specific situation. Yeah? And that only can be done with a strong mind. Yeah? So that's why this is the second purification. So when we talk about the purification of the morality, that's why it's not just about the rules, it's about ourselves too. How we protect our senses, and this is also part of the moral practice. Now here, a person who does not have a restraint on the senses, that person will conceptualize whatever we hear, whatever we see it, and then we put our interpretation onto it, that a liking and a disliking. Based on a liking and a disliking, we are creating the stories there now. And that's how it causes a trouble or happiness. Now the practice of a mindfulness meditation teaches us to, in a different levels, either the moment when we are manifesting into the likeness or dislike or pleasure or unpleasant, or while it is creating, or the very moment when you see it, when you hear it. So cutting that very moment. So that's why it's called seeing, just the seeing. There is no me, mine, what I have seen, just the seeing. Hearing, just the hearing, not what I heard, not what am I hearing, just the hearing. Smelling, just a smelling, like that. Yeah, and that's why in the practice of a meditation, what we are doing is that when we are paying attention to the primary object, whenever secondary objects arises, what we are practicing from there is basically to deal with this way. So that's why whenever we come across with the secondary objects or the distractions, observe, acknowledge, note, and let go. These are simply is the foundational stage to learn how to stop when it comes to contact with the senses. Right? If we haven't practiced the basic these, when we come across with the actual real in our life, then we haven't developed our skills to deal with it. Yeah? So when we are practicing, that's why never be disappointed that why am I doing still the same thing again and again and again. It's just a training ourselves to be ready when the situation comes and able to deal with that. Right? So that's the second part of the moral purification. It's called the Indriya Samvara Sila. So I end here for tonight.